Hey, Whodettes, welcome back to the channel. And last night, huge victory over the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So big, in fact, that we now have a legitimate case to be made for this team being a very, very likely playoff contender, which is not something that many people had for them just even a couple weeks ago. That big loss 2 weeks ago really kind of made them feel like they were down. Losing 5 in a row will make most people's playoff hopes go out the window. So beating Tampa Bay was huge, and what I wanted to do was focus on the defensive side of the ball, and starting with the second quarter. We'll see how that really goes. Second, then maybe the fourth quarter, but really taking a look at how they were able to shut down Tampa Bay even before they started losing their stars, where they lost Fournette, they lost Godwin, they lost Evans, and all those, of course, impact how Tampa Bay played this game. But at the same time, it's an NFL game. You come out to win. The Saints have been missing 7 or 8 offensive starters at a time all year. So Tampa's a very talented team, even without some of those big names. And it's good to look for, if you're a Saints fan, how they were able to actually take advantage of these different situations and how they were able to dictate what they were going to see from Tampa. Because, the real key for a defense is not reacting. If you can dictate what they're going to do and you can predict it and force them into bad decisions or quick decisions, you're usually going to end up on the positive side of things. And that's what happened here with a 9-0 win. So let's go ahead and rotate over and take a look at some of the things that we're going to see. So this is the first play of the second quarter for Tampa. We're just going to run through some of them full speed and then we'll slow them down. You see the Saints are coming up here pretty stacked, but Tampa's running a condensed, and I love the rotation here to where it makes Brady alter what they're going to do, because look what they stacked the box with 10. Now they're showing man coverage with Lattimore and Roby here on the outside. And then you've got Chauncey dip into the box. Then you've got now Malcolm into the box with a 4 front. Now this was really key that they were able to have success with 4 down linemen and 2 linebackers. That's Quan and Davis. And then of course your deep safety in Williams. So now we're going to see what they adjust to. As we're preparing, we see Roby drop back. They hand the ball off. They crash down. And this is a good job by everybody to try to respond to what ends up being a pretty heavy loaded left side, because the Saints are in a dime package essentially here. I mean, you got 3 safety sets. You've got your nickel back out. It's a nickel package, not a dime, because you got Quan. But Quan's kind of that intermediate, like, is he a safety? Is he a corner in terms of how he can play? So you're a little bit lighter that you have to worry about that. So you have to make sure you're tending to your gaps and getting gaps proper. So they're going to come block down. They're going to pull Gronkowski out. And Davis gets caught in the wash, and now you've got a bunch of skilled guys who've got to go against blockers. And they do a good job, I feel like, Chauncey, especially reading what's going on. I think you'll see it better on this opposite angle. You see Granderson, you've got Holmes. Basically, this is kind of like the second line, if you will. In hockey, you do a lot of swapping out. This is at least your second defensive line. You've got a lot of your big names out. So you've got Granderson here trying to play the inside gap, which means DeMario has this one right here. DeMario's going to get swept out by the pulling guard. So it's a really good block down there. You see this block down here, basically a crack down, which leaves Chauncey here on the outside as your man to beat. See how the crackdown comes and gets DeMario, cleans him up. Granderson loses to the pulling guard. So now what happens is you've got a one-on-one, and most teams want this to happen. You want a one-on-one with a DB coming in with the blocker and then against a guy like Fournette. So Chauncey has to play this really well and understand his assignment and his gap. I do think that Lattimore does a good job of splitting. Chauncey is patient. He doesn't overextend. And what I mean by that is, if you've got player 1 and then player 2, you can't be the guy that overextends. You have to maintain your gap integrity. You always want to force guys back to the inside. Lattimore does a really good job here to get across, which thus brings things back, because now Gronk's going to come see him as most dangerous man. They're all trying to force this back up field where Jenkins is coming from the backside, Williams is coming up, and then Chauncey is piercing in. So this is really good fundamentals by the defense. Davis got washed out, probably your best player due to a crackback. So how do you combat that? Good play, and then great form tackle there by Chauncey to come through, and it's a short gain. Was it a positive play for the offense? Yes, but a simple gain of 3 yards. You'll take that. Positive plays are not necessarily successful plays. For a run play, you usually are looking to get 4 to 5 yards minimum for it to be a success. That's a success defensively because of how the defense came and played this out. Now let's keep it moving here, dropping into some short zones with some man over the top, or looked like we had a couple of man situations here, but let's look at it again. All right, so everybody's dropping into short zone. We matched we've got, oh man, on the ground. Don't like to see that, guys. I don't like to see that. Get off the ground, please. Oh, I think that's Granderson there. But you see the short zones that we have here in the middle. Everybody's pretty matched up. You've got basically what was this little hitch flat here. They're able to get, and it's a short gain, ends up getting about 8 yards. It's not what you want to have happen, but you'll take it. And this is kind of what the Saints were doing. They're playing the middle of the field, playing these short defenses. And once again, there's your second team defensive line out there, letting your main guys get a spell. So they get the first down. That's okay. You're willing to accept the underneath. That's what they were playing, dropping into these short zones, willing to give the underneath pass. Now you've got a 1st and 10. Trips bunch over here to the left side. They're going to rotate Gronk to the inside. The hope with Gronk is always, especially when he does like his really nice pivot route, where he'll come through, break outside, and then bust back inside. They're always going to try to attack this part of the field. And the Saints were prepared for it. You see they do a 2-deep look here, and they're going to rotate into this soft zone underneath. See that fake by DeMario dropping back? It ends up getting dropped by Gronk. But this is what they did a lot of. They're going to show some of the pressure, they're going to drop it back. And they're going to show pressure and drop it back. And that's okay. See, we're going to do it. We see the play fake. It's not a run. Drop back into the spot. And Gronk should catch this. He ends up not catching it. But look at where the defense has laid themselves out. So they show a too high, but watch how Malcolm Jenkins plays this. Comes crashing immediately. So what you essentially end up having is something similar to a robber situation versus a cover 2 situation. And that is just simply the respect they have for the middle of the field. They were giving attention to the middle of the field and not wanting to allow a lot of those plays. So even though Gronk has it, he gets hit pretty hard in the side. I mean, you want to have that contact, and sometimes that contact can result in plays not being completed. Now you've got Davenport back up here, and they're also playing a little bit of containment there. Want to make sure that nobody's leaking out in terms of a run, backside, and then Cameron Jordan on your left side of the screen, like I said, ends up going incomplete. Now you got a 2nd and 10 here. Lots of this short zone you're going to see where normally the Saints a man team playing a lot of zone, especially in the middle of the field, because you're worried about things like mesh concepts, those crossing patterns that are overlapping. You got to worry about these, and the best way to combat those is a lot of times with some short zone. All right, little attempted screenplay here, and this is one of my favorite plays. Like if you want to get a great evaluation of how Chauncey is growing as a player, this is a great example. Coming from his nickel spot right here, recognizing the play, and then watch how aggressively he attacks this little bubble screen. So this little slot screen, he's going to blow right through the block and get straight to the tackle. This is like, what, a 1-yard gain. This is Chauncey really starting to take it to that next level. There's some ways that you can attack Chauncey, but in other ways, he's getting so good at diagnosing plays here. Now he's got a few years under his belt. And blowing through, the key is look at his hand placement there. This is so big, and I wish you could get it from a better angle. But his hand placement inside, he completely dominates the blocker here, the receiver who's not able to capture the inside. He gets leverage. He's driving through with leverage. But also, if you look at his eyes, he's always, throughout this contact, looking for the ball carrier. And that is a very high-end play for a young DB, especially in space. This is probably the most dangerous area of the field for most teams because DBs are not known as tacklers, especially corners. Alex Gibb used to always talk about we run at corners because they can't effing tackle. Well, Chauncey is proving that theory wrong here by going out and taking out this little flat screen with a fantastic attack. And good tracking, by the way, by DeMario Davis. But Chauncey doing an amazing job here. And just the click and diagnose that we talked about for a click and close for a guy. Just a fantastic job. And then great cleanup there by DeMario, giving a little bit more beef to it, a little bit more weight to make sure that gets cleaned. Now he forced a 3rd and 9. And this is where the Saints defense managed to stay really strong. Now this is a look you see a lot of. I want to explain it before we snap. So you're showing a too high look. You got right behind my head. You've got, PJ. I was trying to, who was that? So you're showing a C2 look. So the deep look, which would in theory show middle of the field open. So that's something that you would want to look at if you're Tampa. It shows middle of the field open because of how we're aligned. We're showing that we're attacking with man. That's the look. Now, heads are something to watch for because if you're peeking inside, a lot of times that could be zone. We'll see how the body rotates. And then you look here, what do we have? Down in the A gap. So we're giving that look in this dime situation that we're going to give you some pressure. But what do we end up doing with it on 3rd and 9? So you see Tom Brady call it out. He identifies it. We're going to rotate Evans to the inside trying for a matchup. Here comes the pressure. Bam, right there. PJ Williams coming through. So you're showing that look. But remember what we talked about Tampa loves to do. They want to attack the middle of the field. And that's what they do here. They try to say, hey, if you're going to go man, we're going to exploit it. But the Saints do the same thing that they kind of did in that previous play where they're going to rotate those safeties in. And I mentioned this during the game last night that even though you couldn't see in the broadcast, the rotations the safeties were doing were causing Tampa problems for what they wanted to run. This is a normal stack. The whole point of this that you're doing right here at Tampa is to create a natural rub so you can free up something in the middle. You have nothing in the middle of space with DeMario showing this blitz. So you think it's free, but this is where PJ comes in. We are simply playing a single high safety here. PJ is playing that normal robber down low roll, doing it from this backside here. He's going to come, read it immediately, and then watch him crash down. See how we're bringing the nickel out? We're rotating this out. We caused a rub, so now there's space. The person who has to make this play is PJ Williams. He does a fantastic job of doing it and reading this play. Bam, 4th down. Huge play, great tackle. Now, sadly, this doesn't end up causing an injury to Mike Evans. It's a very clean tackle. You know, this is by no means a dirty hit. Hits him right in the thighs, right near that hip juncture, and I'm sure it hurt like hell. But it's a clean tackle, and it's a fantastic read. And this is the type of stuff the Saints are doing. They'll show you one look, and then they're going to rotate to something else to take away what they know you're trying to exploit. Tampa is a big play team. Yards after catch, dynamic playmakers. This is what they want to do. So you take that away by knowing what they're going to do, and now you're dictating how they're going to play. Because now they know they can't run the same thing in the 3rd quarter, 4th quarter, and they have to start changing things up. So let's look at this next one. As we're on the next drive, good field position here for Tampa. Little handoff. Love the crashing through the gaps, but it's a great job by Leonard Fournette. But one of the big things that I love to see, and you used to hear old-time commentators talk about this all the time, gang tackling. Look at everybody coming as a group. Get off your blocks. Go tackle as a group. Because Leonard Fournette's a big boy. Everybody from New Orleans knows just how big Leonard Fournette is. So let's look at it from this angle. How do we do with gap integrity? So right here, we're crashing down Warner. And then we've got Davis. I'm actually kind of curious. I think Warner needed to go outside. That way Davis takes on, if we're doing this rotation. Warner probably has got outside responsibility. He might have. I think Warner might have crashed inside, but let's see how it goes out anyway. So DeMario is going to be man up here. He's following the pull. He comes to try to crash it down. Does a good job. Warner does have the right gap because in man on the line of scrimmage is Cameron Jordan. But now it comes down to everybody else doing their job. Look at Roby. Remember what we talked about with that Marshawn Lattimore play? Roby purposely goes outside. Now you're probably wondering, why does he do this? Because you want to force them back inside. Roby did not go for the tackle first. He went for the fundamentally correct play first. Fundamentals is get outside and take the outside lane away. You do not want them to capture the sideline. That's more space, more ability to get upfield, better chance at a big play. Instead, you go outside, accept the block, fight off it, and then now you force Leonard Fournette into people. DeMario is not able to get the tackle, but that's fine. You got Malcolm Jenkins right here. You've got Big D Lyman coming through. And that's a great job by Roby. You know, some people might not like that play by Roby. They're like, well, Roby just got caught up in a block. No, Roby did the fantastic job of forcing this inside by himself. See how he purposely going in, knows the block is coming. You can see it from this angle. He could have tried to take a beeline to Leonard Fournette. Instead, he makes the proper read, which was a good job of fundamentals, force the ball carrier back inside. And this is why the Saints defense is so good. They match up so well against Tampa Bay because Tampa's designed for big plays. To beat big plays, you play fundamentally good football. And that's what the Saints are doing. You can take 5-6 yards at a time, but we're going to slow you down and stop you. Now look how the Tampa Bay Buccaneers have tried to change things up again. Now they're doing a stacked bunch here, this trips bunch formation. But look how the Saints are reacting to it. They're not going man up. They know the rub is a potential. They're playing a single deep safety, which is, if y'all remember, middle of the field. Close. That's the middle of the field close read, as well as these two short underneath reads. So in terms of how the defensive pre-snap look is against Tampa, you're in a very good position if you're in New Orleans. This is kind of what you want to have. Now at the snap, they're going to hand this off instead. So you end up getting a fantastic run stop by Cameron Jordan on this play. But if a passing situation had occurred, you're lined up exactly what you want it to be. You're dictating what they can do. So great job here. by Cam to Reed. You know Tom Brady's not going to boot it out. So Cam comes crashing down. DeMario misses that tackle, which he missed a couple in this game. Now, I think that's a credit more to how good Tampa Bay is, but you force another third down. And even though Tampa would convert some third downs, if they had 19 opportunities, they only had 40%, 36% conversion rate. There we go. Sugar in the A-gap now. We got another trips bunch, and they're tripping to the inside. To me, when I see this, my first thought is middle of the field again. We're looking at middle of the field again. And if you're the Saints, the look you're giving is worrisome because you're almost in a cover zero here. You're not quite in cover zero. You got your one deep who's playing to the trip side. So he's already giving up leverage to this part of the field. So you're worried about that because you do have Leonard Fournette down here and you've got your nickel guy. But you're sugaring the A-gap. So you've got two linebackers showing pressure in the A-gap. Now let's play it out, see how it goes. They can middle of the field where they're going to run in, and then this is that slant to Leonard Fournette. Now, this is just a fantastic play by LF7. This is an Alvin Kamara type play, but a play that I wouldn't want Alvin Kamara running. Now, they do attack middle of the field, and the Saints read it really well. Good job by Williams to read. Good job by Quan to read. This is just Leonard Fournette being a big dude, being able to take a big hit and come down with the ball. This is why he's a good playmaker. That is just, Saints played that really well. I do want you to note, though, look at the middle of the field. Watch how they drop back. See how they showed that pressure? Then quick back pedal, get into your soft zone, and then go react to the play. And sometimes you're going to give up little slant patterns on things like 3rd and 3s, and you have to be okay with that. You just played it well. You played it as well as you could have. The only thing that could have been different is maybe get your hands up if you're the D-line. So this is one where pressure ends up making a good play. Also, Chauncey with fantastic coverage here. I probably want to jump in the fourth quarter to talk about Chauncey some more, but you see, dropping back into a quarters coverage zone. Once again, this is something the Saints do quite a lot of. They ran a lot of quarters last year. They're going to run it here. And here's your quarters. Now you've got the underneath here with the slot. But you look here, closed off. Here's our quarters. And you'll probably usually have a safety who will react to this down below. Let's see if that's what we have. Well, no safety actually reacts to it. The backside reacts to the in route, but Williams is playing that deep correctly. So they have good fundamentals once again in their coverage. So now it's a one-on-one on a cross. And it's a good job by Chauncey. Now I also want to look at the flip side of this because look at the defensive line. Marcus Davenport getting very, very good pressure here from his outside spot. He's going to fight inside, good hands, completely beats left tackle and forces Brady on an off-platform throw. And it is a very catchable ball for Cameron Brate here. But this is, I promise you, this is not something Brady wanted to do. He wanted this ball to come out differently. But he's having to come off, see his back foot. He's having to throw off his back foot at an angle. He still does a fantastic job. Chauncey with amazing coverage. Once again, fundamentally sound. That's what makes the Saints so good against Tampa. Trying to put it in a position that only his guy can get it, that's really asking a lot. And all this because of the pass rush up front. Great job with hand usage by Davenport. Good upfield. Didn't lose his footing there and ends up forcing a hurried throw from a bad platform, which even though Tom kind of still threw a good pass, that's still a result that you want. So 2nd and 10. Now they're going trips, but they're trying to spread it out. Tampa's like, oh, God, what do we do? Rotate again. Look what the Saints rotated into. Same thing we just talked about. Rotated to single high, and look at all this short zone. They're like, yes, it's 2nd and 10, and we know you want to attack the middle of the field. Look at the numbers here, folks. Even if you give up a pass, you're giving up like 4 or 5 yards. This is what the Saints came to destroy, and that is exactly what they did. So you can give up a 5-yard. I mean, obviously, you want to force incompletions. You want to get sacks. But the Saints came to stop exactly what Tom Brady and them want to do. Tom Brady might have only been hurried 5 or 6 times because he had to get the ball out so fast. Good job by Lattimore to get this out of bounds. Also, what's with that little smack there? We got Coach talking trash to Lattimore right here? What's this? I'm looking at this out of bounds. Look, right here. Oh, okay, never mind. My bad. I thought there was a little bit of slappers going on here, like talking in his neck or something. That's just me being dramatic. 3rd and 4. Once again, you want to force these 3rd down. And once again, look what the Saints are doing with their linebackers. Showing interior pressure, which now we're going to rotate. You see this happen several times now. See how they continue to bring these guys in? Anytime you have these trips bunch close, my worry is always rub routes to open up the middle of the field, especially on short yardage situations. What we do here. So we're going to drop back in that short again and then throw an amazing pass and catch. But you see the Saints prepared for what's coming. Look what they do. Show the pressure, drop back, rush 3. Now, this immediate look is a cluster of, oh, God, don't throw the ball. If it's not Tom Brady, this probably doesn't happen. This is a high-end throw. This is a Drew Brees prime, Tom Brady, Aaron Rodgers type throw that just ends up coming down with just fantastic job. That's all I can say is that's phenomenal coverage. But once again, the Saints are trying to take away the middle of the field, and they've covered it really well. Look at that. I mean, that's just a hell of a throw and catch. Not much you can really do about that. I'm not mad at Lattimore at all. So, look, you accept it. Sometimes those type of plays are going to happen. Let's keep it going. You still got to love what the Saints are doing. It's gritty, it's tough, and it's fundamentally sound. And that was a towel. What the hell? Okay. Randomness. Let's keep it moving. Now we're going back to a little draw play, and great job by Onyemata and the defensive line. Holding it up, Leonard Fournette really know where to go. Davenport also some good physical power there. And if you can stop this run with a 4-man front, you're going to be in a good position. Little pin and pull we're trying to get here. We pin this down. We're going to pull around. We got a double team on Onyemata. And then we got Davenport 1-on-1, which is a mismatch in favor of Davenport right here. He's going to do a good job to break it off and then just get hands on. And then Onyemata needs to get a little bit of credit here for taking on this double team. It's not as perfect as I would want it to be in terms of a drop leg technique, but he does a good job just beating him with power. He takes Ali Marpet and just instead of using the drop leg to split the double team, he just straight overpowers him. Look at this. He's going to get him by the shoulders and get out of my way. That's just pure power. I mean, in terms of technique, Onyemata, not the best drop leg take on double team like they teach you to split it. But if that's what you can do, bro, I can't complain. Like, just threw a whole offensive lineman to the side, and then they get like a 3-yard gain. It's good players, man. 2nd and 7, you'll take that. Remember, once again, a 3-yard gain is a failure. 3-yard gain is a failure, even though they're in big position. Now they're going to go 5 wide. They're going to try to split out the Saints here. See what they're going to do. Showing 2 deep, rush with 4. Once again, nothing really there. That's good coverage by Quan. I want you to look at everything that we've got here. Route running that they're trying to do. I'm surprised that they don't try to go for the post right here, that it being Tom. But look, that pocket's kind of collapsed. So if you look pre-snap, you've got 2 posts here. Let me show you what they're running. So you're going to have Leonard Fournette. I'm going to get these assigned, then I'll draw them out. So Leonard Fournette's going to run a quick little hitch, a little short route, nothing crazy. We've got a post route coming from outside the numbers. We're going to have another post route here. Then we'll have a go, and then we're just going to have a little sit right here under the middle. Now, the read on the field, because you have 2 deep safeties, is generally middle of the field is open. This will be open. The key, though, is it's got to be open when Tom's ready to throw it there. It's going to take about 3 seconds because the depth of this route, it's going to take about 3 seconds to get there, maybe 3.5. So at the snap, you're at a 5-step, probably going to go back to a 7-step length. 1, 2, yep. So you're a 7-step drop length. Now you're doing a clock. You got about 2 seconds in your head before you release. Coverage is great here. You see Roby is in good trail. We've got it here. This can potentially break inside, but you're okay with it as long as your defensive line can get to Brady. And there's the pocket coming down. So Brady needed about a half second more to throw right here. And he could have gone either direction. This is one of those times where the Saints had a coverage that allowed a post route like this to be open. But a 4-man front is putting significant pressure on Tom Brady. A half second longer, this is a big play. But with the Saints able to come through and have the level of success they did on the offensive line, you got to throw it. Ain't nowhere to go. Gronk can't hold on. Let's look at it from the flip side of the angle. So remember, Brady sees middle of the field open. He wants to go these post routes. That's why he's not even paying attention to the outside. He's not paying attention to Leonard Fournette. He's not paying attention to the receiver that was at the bottom of your screen before. He's focusing purely on the interior of the field because that's what the defense is telling him. This is where we'll be open. But now it's, look at Shy Tuttle getting great pushback right there and getting a hand up. Look at that. You don't really expect that from a Shy Tuttle because he's not really known as a pass rusher. That's more of a David Onyemata thing. But it just shows that the Saints are playing really well. And they were able to have success against Ali Marpet and Kappa multiple times throughout this game, both for the left guard and the right guard. You see Ryan Jensen goes and helps out against Onyemata. But That's what you'll take all day long, forcing now a 3rd and long. What are you going to do? What are you going to do with it? So here we go. Here we go. Oh, 25 minutes in, man. I was curious how far we could get here, but I might go to that like last drive just because I want to show something with Chauncey. Okay. So now we're going to rush 4 again. Once again, pressure coming, and then once again, a sack. And this was as much a coverage sack as it was great pass rush. Once again, they're showing that cover 2 look. They're going to draw back, middle of the field, locked away. Look at it. Locked away. You see how the Saints rotated again? That was a big thing here for Tom. Look how the safeties rotate. So they're not going to stay in that cover 2 alignment. Look how they move. We're picking up. Oh, bam, jump down. So they stayed there, but picked, moved to middle of the field. Nowhere to go. Tom is sitting here in the pocket going, what the heck? Closed off. He's got a dump that will not get him a first down. Nothing there. Nothing there. Nothing there. Nowhere to go. Great coverage. And now it's time for the sack. Cameron Jordan fighting from the bottom of the anthill. Love to see it. And that was sack number 100.5 for Cam. So I want you to take a look at what they did here. They put Davenport inside to go against that matchup, like I said, that they were having success with. Now Ryan Jensen is going to come help clear him out. This is a fantastic job by Ryan Jensen to put Marcus Davenport on his butt. But look at Onyemata. Spin move. Didn't really work. Great job against Wirfs by Cameron Jordan, just fighting through and not giving up. Wirfs playing at an all-pro level probably this year. And Cameron Jordan, just a fantastic matchup. Get right hand inside, and then look at the torque here against Wirfs. That is not something that Wirfs is going to struggle with much. He has played fantastic, but Cameron Jordan, the veteran, is coming against him and beating him soundly. And then Carl Granderson, the top, not really getting too much, but just enough. He's like that close to getting a forced fumble. He went for the rush up the arc. I thought he had some really good burst here. No false step. Good to see. Good little rip underneath. Just right there. If that ball had been up ready to throw, Granderson probably gets a forced fumble. But Cameron Jordan do a good job from that opposite side. I want to skip ahead because I want to get to really what is one of the most fantastic examples of corner play that we've seen in recent years. I want to show the Chauncey Gardner-Johnson interception. And only because, and broadcast talked about this, and I talked about it in the podcast last night. It's not necessarily showing anything that, nobody else has mentioned, but I want to show it to you from this angle. And it's not that one. We'll keep going. Is it this one? Let me find it real quick. No, that was the draw play where they basically had given up. So we're a little bit too far ahead. There's the interception. Okay. So this is on a 3rd and 10, ball on the 33. And then Chauncey's going to be lining up here in his normal nickel spot, close up here. But the key is watch the trail. He is going half speed right now. Now watch him turn it on as soon as he sees the movement. And you'll see it better from the opposite angle. But you can see it here. Y'all know Chauncey. Look at him going, but look at his movement here. It's kind of like halfway running, then kick it in to the very end, and you're baiting them. This is something that high-end corners will do a lot, and it's very difficult to pull off because you have to be very confident in the route that's being run and to be very confident in your abilities. But you can see him crossing the field right now, solid foot away. Oh, man, couldn't even see a good view of it. He's a solid 2 yards back. I mean, you'll see it right here at the bottom of the screen. He's purposely trailing back and letting the receiver run ahead. Pressure forces Brady out, and then he purposely speeds up and undercuts it. Huge INT, and that was the game winner. I mean, that's what solidified this as a W for the Saints, and it's just fantastic to see this level of technique. And what do we talk about that Tampa wants to do? Tampa wants to run middle of the field. They want big plays. They want yards after catch. And one of the things that they're running right here is something that has murdered the Saints for years, and that is the mesh concept. The mesh concept is a combination of crossing patterns that create a natural rub route in the middle of the field with routes going opposite directions right on top of each other. This is something the Saints have struggled with, but they play it so well here. You could tell they knew this was going to happen. Look at what this potentially could be. Look at the safety coming and clearing this out, but look at Chauncey staying at the top, not underneath. Why is that important? So if Chauncey had underneath, like he was trying to go underneath on this route already, here's what's going to happen. Collision between two Saints players, and now that's open, and now that's potentially open. All this is a problem, but good communication and knowing what's coming prevents that. Look at that. Fantastic. Let's watch it again. Come on, let's watch it again. This is why we like to see the Saints improve, and we like to see this area of the film, because you don't get to see this in the broadcast. This is that mesh concept. They want to run this. This is a multi-layered concept. You got this one over here, here, and then you're even leaking one underneath in terms of vacancy. Tampa's got a good design here for what they're trying to do. So it takes the Saints playing very fundamentally sound football and having the top end of this route, which is what Chauncey's doing. He's playing over top, and he's going to wait for the undercut when the pass gets sold. He purposely has got about 1.5 yards gap there. He sees Tom looking for it. As soon as he sees the shoulders dip through, then he kicks on the burners to undercut it, pick it off, and then there you have it. That is how Chauncey baits Tom Brady, the greatest quarterback of all time, into throwing an interception in a critical moment. Young guy, only in the league for a couple years, perfect technique to bait probably the greatest quarterback to ever play the game. Fantastic. You love to see it. And who knows where the Saints can go from here? At the end of the day, the truth is they still have the struggle problems of the fact that, they have a very banged up offensive line. They're playing their third quarterback. They have no real receivers in terms of the Michael Thomas. The tight end has been a struggle for them. Who knows how far they can go? But I can tell you this. What we've seen in film from last night's game, if the defense can continue at that level, that is an elite level. That is an elite team. And that team can beat anybody. And as cliche and generic as to say, if they do last night's performance, they'll literally win the Super Bowl if they don't allow a team to score. This is winning football. The offense still has a lot of questions, but man, this defense playing at this elite level and finally being healthy with all 11 starters on the field can really do some damage to some of the best teams in the NFL. Hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, smash the like button. Y'all are amazing. Who dat? God bless. Deuces. I'll catch you on the next one. Peace.